Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm going to inform you about the rich, vibrant history of tie dye. My niece actually had a birthday this July and wanted to make tie dye for her birthday present. We said yes, of course, and we actually made this shirt that I'm wearing right now. And it got me really thinking about this history of tie dye, how far it went back. Little did I know, it was actually over 6,000 years old. This 6,000-year-old version of tie dye is called Banhani, and it was used in ancient Indian weddings and is still in use today. These pieces of cloths were put on saris as good luck charms for brides. Each individual pattern was passed down through generations and is still being passed down to this day. How to make banhani. According to OrchidAlley.com, women would grow out their nails so they could pull a piece of fabric through to make a pattern, then soak this fabric in the dye that they made. The dye that they make would be from plants and herbs, basically anything found in nature. This dye would be very earthy at the time, figuring it was 4000 BC. Not a lot of stores around. But tie dye did not just stay isolated in India. It soon began to immigrate to all corners of the globe. A version in Japan began to rise in popularity around the 8th century. This version was called shibori. Shibori was used in clothing and other decorative items. It was usually in the color of indigo, and it was also made for royalty in ancient Asian dynasties. How to make said shibori. Shibori is used by resist drying techniques, and there are multiple techniques used according to Hedels.com. All these techniques all have the fabric you're dyeing formed into a pattern before dyeing, and that is basically what resist drying techniques means. Resist drying techniques means making the pattern and then just dumping it in the dye basically. A version of shibori is kaniko shibori, which is the most similar version to the western way of tie-dye that we know. Use rubber bands or something like it to make a pattern in the clothes, then dye it with the colors. Very simple. But a more strenuous version of shibori is Miura shibori, and according to Hedels.com, it is the method of shibori is achieved by plucking sections of the fabric with a hooked needle and looping thread around each plucked section. The thread is not tied, creating a unique and irregular pattern similar to shimmering water. This shibori is very beautiful. I recommend looking it up. In tie-dye as we know it today. In the 1960s, tie-dye became immensely popular with the hippie crowd. Artists such as Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix made tie-dye mainstream, and there were actually artists at Woodstock handing out their own handcrafted tie-dye shirts. Woodstock was a massive music festival, a real coming-of-age story for the hippie crowd. Even if it was brought over in the 60s and became popular then, it was still in America for over 50 years. It was brought over by a U.S. college professor called Charles E. Pello in 1909. How do we make this tie-dye that we know now? First, pick out the item of clothing or whatever you want to tie-dye. Then decide a pattern you would like. You can look it up online. There are hundreds of patterns. I think I made the shirt with a pattern of the first picture on top, as you see on my slides. But there are hundreds of patterns to choose from. You really can't go wrong. Each pattern is individual. Very cool, very neat. Then you just follow the instructions of how to fold or tie your shirt to achieve the pattern you're wanting. Quite simple. And then just pick out the colors and then tie dye the shirt. It's really simple. Tie dye's been around for thousands of years in weddings, all the way to music concerts, and it makes sense. People are so attracted to these vibrant colors and the patterns that they seem to add a little brightness in this world. Well, I hope y'all learned some things you did not know about the history and the multiple techniques of tie dye. Thanks for listening.